Hi everybody, welcome to Dulcimerica. My name is Futch. Thank you for signing on for this adventure. This is a brand new year and a brand new format for Dulcimerica, and every month I'll be doing 3 distinct episodes for different skill levels: beginner, intermediate, advanced, and then another episode for all skill levels. Certain months will have a 5th week, and then I'll figure out something at that point. But that's how we're going to go. So this month we've already looked at RLE and its counterpart in modern times, Love Me Tender. And we looked at it with just a drone melody style, playing melody over the drone's bass and middle string. And then we looked at it in a chord melody style, where we actually changed some chords along with the melody. Now we're going to be playing chromatic, and that's going to make our episode today one for our advanced players. Now, maybe you have a chromatic dulcimer, or maybe you're interested in chromatic music theory. In either case, you will need a chromatic dulcimer, or at least extra frets, to play along with the tablature, which you can find down below here at my Patreon page. And I'll explain how I came up with it, and also make available to you a template in TableEdit for creating your own chromatic tablature. But before I go deeper, I want to say hello to one of my patrons, one of my new patrons on Patreon, Monica Gerard. Monica, thank you very much for signing up, subscribing, being a part of my art every single day. You've just gotten started, but all of a sudden you've realized that you've opened up this huge can of worms, because I've got this archive, the Patreon Vault, which includes everything that I've ever produced. It's all my books, CDs, videos, tablature, and I do weekly exclusive content. And I'm finding more and more that people are getting lost as they are swimming, keep on swimming through all of the offerings there. But the Patreon directory is making it very, very easy for people to find what they're looking for. Hopefully you're finding everything you're looking for as well. Monica is just one of a number of patrons I have who make sure that things get taken care of here every single week, especially during the pandemic when a lot of gigs have dried up, and that means, of course, income opportunities as well. So this has been just a godsend, and I want to thank all of my patrons and Monica for being there for me, and then that allows me in turn to be there for you, creating content on mountain dulcimer, Native American flute, ukulele, and general music theory as well. If you'd like to check out what's going on with Patreon and sample some of the wares, you can go to patreon.com/bingfutch. Scroll down, take a look at the open house tag, and that tag will lead you to over 550 different posts, each one where you can download a little something or get some information, and that'll lead you forward throughout the trail. It's like a trail of popcorn. Just follow it, and there's all kinds of really cool stuff going on. If you like what you see, consider becoming a patron for just $5 a month. That is the entry level. That gets you everything I mentioned before, and then subsequent levels above that will get you extra perks like stickers, t-shirts, monthly EPs, me coming to your house cooking dinner for you, doing private concerts, so forth and so on. Of course, socially distanced these days. So thank you very much to my patrons. Thank you very much to Monica, and of course, thank you to all of you for watching Dulcimerica. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we've got here. I've got a chromatic dulcimer here, courtesy of Fullcraft Instruments. This is Lipoa. I've had Lipoa for a while, and she's got some koa going on the sides and the back with a butternut top, and she's just, actually this is a cherry top. Very, very gorgeous instrument and a gorgeous sound. And she is fully chromatic, as you can see. So if you've got what we call now a standard dulcimer, a diatonic dulcimer, you're going to have one additional half step that you're not supposed to have. That's going to be the 6.5 fret. But if you're more progressive, you may have the 1.5 fret. And we're just talking about the first octave right now, open through the 7th fret on a standard dulcimer. And if you've got that 1.5 fret, you're only 3 notes away from being fully chromatic. If you don't have the 1.5 fret, you're just 4 notes away from being fully chromatic. So it's not that big a stretch. But as soon as you include all of the notes of the chromatic scale, all 12 different notes, you start having to make decisions about which version of a note to play. Do I play C or C sharp? Do I play G or G sharp? So it's really, really handy, of course, to know what key you're in and what the notes of that particular scale are. So yeah, it does involve a lot more thought than simply playing a standard mountain dulcimer. But with that thought comes the ability to play in whatever key you want to, with whatever notes and with whatever chords you want to, and that's part of the beauty of it. So I've got a 3-string chromatic here. We're tuned D-A-D, and I've used the exact same arrangement for RLE, Love Me Tender, since the very, very beginning. We've just altered a little bit as we've moved through, and I'm going to do the exact same thing here today. So let me go ahead and play it without any of the changes, just so you can see where my fingers are in relationship to the chromatic fretboard. So. Right? And where are we going from here? G major 7. Now here I believe I went up and did a B up here. So up here. And then I came back down here. And then do our A. Okay, I've been working on the chromatic version for so long now that there's another thing we can do with that B. All right, so before I get into what changes are being made here, let's make it a little easier for you in case you're doing that. First of all, if you're using TableEdit, tableedit.com is the link where you would get it. You can download a free version of that called TEF View. It doesn't cost a whole bunch of money to download the whole thing for either PC or Mac. I think it's around 75, 80 bucks, something like that now. It's a great program for creating your own tablature. A lot of good things about it. One of the best things about it is being able to say, take the arrangements that I've already done so far and then transcribe them into TableEdit, and then you can manipulate them how you want to. Change chords, change melodies, change the rhythm, change the key. You can do a lot of really interesting things. But what you can also do is you can take your diatonic, that is your basic staying within the key type of arrangements, and you can turn them into chromatic numbering systems. We use the half, the plus, the 0.5 when working with diatonic mountain dulcimers. So we've got your 1.5, your 6.5, things like that. And we're numbered basically 1 through 7 in the upper octave, in the first octave. The numbering convention for chromatic instruments is just a basic 1 through 12. So the frets don't have 1.5, 2.5, things like that. It's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, with 13 being the octave at what we would normally call the 7th fret. So it's very handy to take the music you've already written out and then basically move it over into a chromatic template. So if you want that template, you can also download that at the address below. It's a basic TEF file. I use it, Stephen Seifert uses it, and you can simply open this and then you can copy and paste with some, I got some visual helpers here to show you how that all works out. I can copy and paste my diatonic arrangement, copy it from the diatonic, open up the chromatic template, and then paste it into that. It will automatically correct everything to the chromatic numbering system, and it won't change anything else. The arrangement remains the same, which means you can now go in and you can sort of, make little adjustments here and there in order to do something else with the arrangement now that we've got full chromatic capability. So let's talk about some of the changes that I made here now that we do have all of the notes. Starting off, we keep things very simple. Nothing is changing at all from the opening of the piece, except for the numbers of the frets, of course. What was 1 bar is now a 2 bar. And then we got our A. Nothing changes in that repeated section from measures 1 through 4. So we'll go ahead and blow right past that into, I guess what we could call the chorus. Aureli, Aureli, da 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 da. So starting at measure number 5, nothing's going to change here either. We're still going from D to F sharp major, and then we're going to B minor to D7. Now here's where the change is going to come in. It's going to be in this little lovely passage. Now before this, we did G major 7 on the downbeat of measure 7. And then we went to a G6, then a G, then back to a G6, and then to D. But if you know the song and if you love the song, you know there, at least in the Love Me Tender version by Elvis Presley, that there is a nice heartbreaking minor 4 chord, which for us in the key of D would be G minor. So what we're doing here as a change is we're going to take this G major 7, it's going to stay the same. The G6 on the way down is going to stay the same. But here we are going to go ahead and play that iconic G minor. Oh man, isn't that great? Just makes the heart go flutter, doesn't it? Coming back up by nature of the fact that we're basically still going to be holding on to the G minor, but we also have a melody note coming in, E. That officially makes this a G minor 6 chord. And that is a beautiful thing altogether. What's not a beautiful thing is the fingering required. As you can see, it's a bit of a finger twister, and it's a bit of a handful to make the old thing happen. So if I walk down from the G major 7, first of all, I've got cat hair on the fretboard, sorry about that. If I come down from our G major 7, remember we started off from this D7 here, so the D is already there at the 4th fret. I'm going to leave my thumb there, cross my index finger over here, and then put my finger into place on the middle string 2nd fret. There's our G major 7. Another way to do this is to get my pinky there at the 2nd fret. And I can then lay my finger down, lay the pinky down, but it's not easy to lay it all down if you're not used to using your pinky that way. Another way of doing that is you could lay your pinky down all the way and then your thumb is covering the 4 here, and then just lift your thumb. Whenever I'm practicing new moves like that, I do it for a long time over and over again to help my muscle memory along, to understand what it is that I would like my fingers and my hands to do. Now from here, gonna have to hop off the melody string and get that finger, whatever finger you're using, get it down to the 1st fret so we can get the B flat in there and therefore, of course, play our G minor chord. Technically in the music it's written as an A sharp, which it is. A sharp and B flat are the exact same note, they're just spelled differently depending on what key we're in. And since we're playing in the key of D major and we have 2 sharps, it just makes sense to use a sharp, A sharp, instead of a flat. And that's really why we use the different flats and sharps when we're working out of keys, to kind of keep everything together. So once again we have our G major 7. That right there, that chord is a G6, okay? And then we're going to go down to our G minor. Coming back up, the G minor 6 basically means we want to hold the G minor and then bring in E. Well, again, unless you are going to work on it over and over again, it's going to be very difficult to try and grab the 2nd fret on the melody string. What I've been messing around with is completely changing my grip once I get down to the G minor and then flip around. So I would do something like G major 7, G major 6, and then maybe for G minor I actually come around and do this, lead off with the thumb, use my middle finger on the middle string, and then my index finger can come down to the 2nd fret and get the E on the melody string, and then the thumb would pop over and grab our F sharp at the 4th fret on the melody string. So let's do that again. Using my pinky as a bar at the 2nd fret, lift the thumb, and then change my grip. Index finger comes in, and then our D major chord with that F sharp that we're using as the melody string. Then from here, remember we were going up here to grab the B and we were barring on the diatonic dulcimer. This time we actually can play a B major down here. And it's a full-throated B major, you know, with D sharp in there and everything. So that's really cool to have that there. But the melody is calling for us to play this instead, the G, and then the G going down to F sharp. So technically, what you're seeing in the music is B plus. What the heck is that if you don't know? It's an augmented chord that is a root, a third, and a sharpened 5th. We've taken the perfect 5th, we've raised it up a half step, and so that actually works within the context of the chord just by nature of following the melody. So we're going from the B augmented chord to a B major proper, and then we get into our E, and then our A walk down. All right, so from the top, that's beautiful. It sounds like a Disney soundtrack, doesn't it? And then we walk down our A. All right, so that is taking our arrangement just a little step further because we were really missing some of that really nice chromatic flavoring stuff, those non-diatonic notes that we could get by without no problem when we played our intermediate version. But if we really want to play the song and make it sound as authentic as possible, at least the Elvis version, it's really nice to have those non-diatonic notes to come in, to play our B major, to play our G minor, and have that flavor in there. And it really works well with the Chromatic Mountain Dulcimer. And if you've got tabla edit, it's very easy. Once again, to take your diatonic tab, copy it, paste it into the chromatic template that I've made available, and then make your own adjustments based on your personal taste. That's it for our study of Love Me Tender and Aurelie. For our next episode, it's going to be an all skill level fandango. Where we're going and what we're doing, I don't even know yet, but we will find out together next week. Everybody, thank you very much for tuning in, and we will see you then.